Hey there, I'm Stephanie Reddy, joined by Steve Smith and Stan Van Gundy. A plethora of NBA experience here at this table. We're happy that you guys joined us. And before we dive in to the New Orleans Pelicans, we're going to catch up with the #1 draft pick. Our own Steve Smith went to Media Day in New Orleans and sat down with Zion Williamson.
Zion, here, Media Day. Talk about it. This is the start of your journey. The dream is here. Talk to me about it.
The dream is here. Hopefully first of many. I'm excited. I'm having a lot of fun so far. And I'm just soaking it all in.
We know the impact you've made on college basketball and high school, and the impact you will make in the NBA. I want to talk about the impact you've done in this community. You know, to me, you've came in and embraced New Orleans and everything you did. Talk to me about that.
When I first got here, Drew Brees, his advice to me was, if you love the city, I'll love you right back. And I mean, it's true. So I try to pop out to any local events, say what's up to the kids, say what's up to the people around the city. And he was right. I mean, the people are very welcoming. And it's just love everywhere you go.
Talk to me about, you talk about mentors in the basketball, then you have a mentor like Drew Brees. How big has he been for you in helping you around to navigate New Orleans and then just also being a professional?
He's been a big help. Whenever I need some advice, he's there for me. And some of the other football players too. Thomas Morstead, he gave me some great advice. I don't know if I want to share it because it's that good, but yeah, people here are giving great advice, and I'm just taking it all in.
Basketball-wise, talk to me about some of the veterans that just came and showing you the way here in New Orleans, and particularly Drew Holiday.
Yeah, Drew has been giving me some great advice as well, showing me the ropes, how to adjust to the league. A big veteran that's really helped me has been Etwan Moore. Great guy. We went out to eat a couple times. He's showing me around the city what spots I should go to. I mean, and when we're on the court, he says, "Yo, just play your game. Don't think too much." So he's been a big help.
And then playing on the floor, the good thing about you is you can dribble, you can pass, you can score, you can rebound, you can defend. So, the question's been around. You're going to be a point forward, power forward, small ball center, small forward. What do you think? And what have Alvin Gentry talked about? What's going to be your role?
Just keep the people guessing. I have to see.
What do you like playing?
I'm a basketball player.
Okay, good. You're a basketball player. And then now you got some guys around you. Lonzo, Drew Holiday. You got some unbelievable guards. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. How fun is that going to be playing with these type of guards that can get you the basketball in the right position?
It's going to be a lot of fun. They're pass-first guards. They're very unselfish. And they see the floor. Like with Lonzo, we'll be playing pickup, and this man's throwing me a full-court lob. I'm like, man, I didn't think you saw that. And then Drew's just a leader on the court. He gives everybody confidence. And then with Nickeil, even though he's a rookie, he's competitive and he sees the floor very well. Great passer. And he also has a burner.
And then your front court, I would say, partner would be Brandon Ingram. How are you guys working well together?
Y'all don't know, but Brandon's a funny guy. I think we're going to work well together. All of us haven't been here. We've been in and out, but it's gonna be a lot of fun when we get our chemistry down.
And you're looking at this season, and I played for Alvin Gentry. You watched them back in the past. They like to run. They like to get up and down. How much does Coach talk to you about the pace you guys will be having?
Oh, like you said, we like to run. He goes, if you guys want to jog, we'll be a jogging team, but we're not. We're gonna run, and I love that because when you run, it creates a lot of opportunities.
And you look at defense, you have some guys that can block shots. You have some guys can switch. How good, and everybody's talking about you guys in fast break situations, but how good you think you guys are going to be on the defensive end, even though you have some young players?
I think we're going to be great. I feel like once we come into our own, once everybody learns the system, I think we're going to be a great defensive team.
How excited are you for the first day of actually getting on this court and going at it in training camp?
I'm excited. This is what it's all about. What we do on the court, and I'm hyped about it.
What's your favorite spot to eat in New Orleans?
I like Drago's a lot.
Okay.
I like Drago's a lot. I like the seafood pasta.
You like the seafood pasta?
Yeah.
Good. Thanks. Appreciate you, big fella.
Thanks for having me, man.
That was terrific. Well done, Smitty.
Yes.
Well done. And what we saw.
It was all, we all know this. If the guy you interview makes the interview.
True, indeed.
That kid at that young age, he gets this thing, he's got it.
Yeah, he does, and he's a likable kid with a great deal of charisma. That was fun to watch.
It was, and I was going to say that kind of gives us a window into part of the excitement level. We obviously knew what he could do on the court, but now we're starting to get to know him as a player, and you can see how the whole city and the state can get behind and fall in love with him. Remember, they've sold over 12,000 season tickets after they announced who they drafted. That's the most the franchise has sold in over a decade.
Well, and even more to me as a coach is you can see how his teammates are going to get behind him. Where he got really animated in his answers with Steve was when he got to talk about his teammates. He wanted to talk about his teammates and how good they were more than he wanted to talk about himself. His teammates are going to love playing with him.
That sounds amazing.
It is. And Stan said it best. I mean, and they always gravitating around him. They always gravitating together. And I talked to Alvin. Alvin said this team chemistry-wise, I don't know what we're going to do on the court yet, but before even day one of training camp and media day, they like being around each other. Zion is one of these kids that I think he has that it factor. Now, if he can get that it factor on the floor, this league will be his.
Now, I know it's early, Stan, but just looking ahead, projecting, what do you think the best position would be for him and his skill set?
Wow, that's going to be hard. I mean, I think he's going to slot in, but the way the league is going and the perimeter depth that this team has, I think we'll see a decent amount of small ball 5 out of him. The only caveat to that is I think Jackson Hayes is a tremendous young guy, and if they play a lot of small ball with Zion at the 5, that would take away from Jackson's minutes.
Do you think the expectations are too high for him, Steve?
Yeah, I think so. And I love what Griffin Alvin has done. They've tailored it down, right away. They're saying, people were saying he's the best player, he's MVP-like, and he could be. But they have a guy in Drew Holiday that's proven, and I love the way Alvin and David Griffin has taken some pressure off him. You don't want to put this whole thing on a young guy like a Zion Williamson, whether he can carry the team or not. Is Drew Holiday's team.
Right.
Zion is a guy that will have to follow Drew. And I think they're going to go as far as Drew Holiday takes him versus Zion from day one.
Hey, and a terrific leader. If you're going to follow someone, Drew Holiday, that's the right guy to get behind. All right, let's talk about some impactful players that they received in the offseason. We mentioned the Anthony Davis trade. Well, they got back in return a couple of good players in Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball. What do you think that they will do to help this team get to the next level?
Well, that I think's going to be the most intriguing part of the Pelicans for me this year is to watch those guys and to get an idea of how good they can actually be. We've seen flashes with Lonzo Ball where I actually think he's really good is at the defensive end of the floor with his length. I think he's very good. He's obviously an outstanding passer. But the fact that nobody to this point has had to really guard him on the perimeter would certainly hurt them. And then Brandon Ingram started to play tremendous basketball last year, right before he got the blood clots. I'm anxious to see if he can carry over the development. The biggest problem with both of them where we're going to need to see it is neither one of them have been very good shooters on the perimeter, and we would need to see that change for them to be guys who can be really key players on a contending team.
They're so young. Stan said it. They're both the number 2 picks in their rifle draft. We just haven't seen enough of them consistently, and I think there's so many questions about them. And that's not negative. I like Brandon Ingram running the wing when he was coming out of college. But then, Stan, I got a chance to see him with the ball in his hand. They were running him at the point guard position in the Lakers, and I didn't know he had that capability. Played pretty well at that position. Still waiting to see how these guys fit in the NBA and the structure with their team. And then Lonzo, I think this is going to be a perfect fit for him with guys that can run and them playing at that pace and having a guy like Drew Holiday next to him.
You brought up the defense. Let's talk a little bit about the offense. Here's a look at his new shot. I put new in air quotes. Does it look different?
From a form, technique, and where he's built on what he had before, he's not coming across from left to right. I mean, the shot pocket is still a little bit low for me.
Yeah, very low.
This is definitely an improvement, and I'm one of these guys. I can care less the way you shoot it. Jamal Wilkes shot it like this.
Yes, he did.
It went in. Reggie Miller shot it and clapped his hands. So, yes, you want to have guys that have perfect form. It's still going to come down to, can you get it off in a game And when you're wide open, can you knock down consistent shots?
Yeah, and the fact that he's got a low release on the shot, I don't even know if that's a big deal for him right now because he's such a great passer. What he needs is people just to guard him honestly, and then he's got better angles to make his plays. And that shot looks a lot better. Will it carry over to games? Will he stick with it when he misses 3 in a row? All of those things are the things you don't know.
All right, moving on to head coach Alvin Gentry. Real quick, do you think there's pressure on him to make the playoffs with this young roster they've assembled?
Well, I can't imagine that there is. I mean, first of all, they signed him to a contract extension. Second of all, he and David Griffin have a great relationship. And I think they're realistic enough to know this is all about development with them, with those young guys. Would they like to grab a playoff spot? Sure they would. Everybody would. But is that a realistic expectation in a very deep Western Conference? I don't think so. You just want to see Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram and Josh Hart and Frank Jackson and Nick Alexander-Walker and Jackson Hayes and Zion Williamson. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. You want to see all those guys get better. You want to see a team come together. And wherever it ends up, it ends up. This is a developmental year for the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's no pressure right now. I mean, they're signing to extension. I don't think any of us expecting them to make it to the playoffs. It would definitely be a cherry on the top if they do. The one guy that wants them to make it to the playoffs is J.J. Redick. He's been there 13 straight years. He's saying, I want to go to the playoffs. He wants to make it 14, but I don't see any pressure of this Pelicans team having to make it this year and putting pressure on Alvin.
That's a great point. And you brought them all up, Stan. Contract extension, the previous relationship, just in case you forgot at home, David Griffin and Gentry were together in Phoenix when that team went to the Western Conference Finals, so that history is certainly there.
It is, and the guy's a hell of a coach.
Right.
And his style of play fits their roster. I mean, every coach now, you almost have to say it, we want to run. But most of us don't really mean it.
Right.
Alvin means it.
Yes.
I mean, he says they want to run, and they run. I mean, that's the feature of the way Alvin's teams have played. That certainly seems to fit their personnel. So, yeah, I think there's good reason, even beyond the history, there's great reason for Alvin Gentry to be coaching this team.
Excellent. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this team play as we anticipated. You brought up J.J. Redick, so we're going to go with, and the entire city of New Orleans feels like their dream came true as well. Here's a look at the Pelicans' projected depth chart. Starters look like they're pretty solid. What do you guys think? Do you agree?
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, that's a great lineup. Just young.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys haven't been proven yet, but talent-wise, that's a fantastic starting lineup.
What do you think, Stan? You like?
No, I agree, and that'll be who they go with for sure. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And then I think their depth is pretty good. I agree with Steve. The problem is, youth.
Right. You don't know what's going to happen.
No, and you don't know if they're going to come together defensively. They didn't defend last year, even with guys like Anthony Davis. And now with all these young guys, you don't know how, young guys will be committed at that end of the floor. But there's some talent there for sure.
Well, I think Drew Holiday, we've already established that he's a terrific leader, that he definitely plays defense. Maybe he can be the catalyst to help this team become more defensive-minded. How do you think he'll be most impactful this season?
I think for him is being that go-to guy, taking the pressure off these young guys. And Brandon Ingram has the talent to be, but is still proving that he can carry a team and carry a season. So Drew is a guy, I think, offensively, he's gotten much better. This is his 11th year, Stan, and I keep looking at his numbers. In each category, they keep getting better and better, and that's unbelievable for a guy at 29. He's still young, but he's been in the league 11 years. And he's getting better and better. And one of our better two-way players, I don't think he gets enough credit being one of our better two-way players in the league.
And I think this is the year he can get that credit. Number one, he's going to have a chance, like Steve said, to be the go-to guy. Okay, he's never really been that. He's been good. But the other thing is, this is a team everybody's going to watch.
Right.
So they're not going to be hidden. This is one of the most intriguing teams in the league. Fans are excited. But when I talk to people, that's who everybody wants to talk about is the Pelicans. Even above like the Lakers and the Clippers and the Warriors and all of them, they want to talk about this team. So he's going to gain attention. And if he does what we think he's capable of doing, he's going to finally get the credit that he deserves.
And they're talking MVP consideration down there, Stan. They're kind of comparing him to Steve Nash when he won it at age 30. And I talked to Drew, and he embraced that.
Hey, that's the first step,
too,
right?
yeah,
I mean, what else? All right, you talk about excitement level. They have another draft pick. It wasn't just Zion Williamson. Their number 8 pick was Jackson Hayes. I know you both are excited about his potential.
Look, I think he's got a chance to be really, really good. He's got great athletic ability and a tremendous attitude. This guy came to basketball late, really didn't play much until his junior year of high school. He was a football player. His dad's
crazy.
a pro football player. Oh! His athletic ability is off the charts. And the people at Texas, when I did one of their games last year, just talked about what a great worker he is, and he's a sponge. He wants to be coached and everything else. I think he's going to get better and better, and we might see him in the starting lineup by the end of the year with that team.
And I love it, Stan. Just to add, a kid went from 6 feet to 6'11" in high school, grew 11 inches. So he took some time to grow into that body. One, I love the combination of a great kid, but a little nasty on the floor, Stan. He has that little nastiness, and he's tough. He played football. His parents are athletes. I'm with Stan. I think by January, you can see him creeping up, getting more minutes. And I love the depth. When you have depth of young guys that can be good, they push those guys in front. And I think him and Nickeil Alexander-Walker are definitely going to push guys in front of him.
My goodness, you talk about some athleticism that's off the charts for those teams, for that team. J.J. Redick, you mentioned him earlier. Terrific teammate, obviously a heck of a shooter, coming off of a career-high 18 points. You know him very well, Stan, having coached him. How will he help this team?
Look, he's going to help any team, okay? First of all, the guy keeps getting better. We talked about Drew Holiday. 34 years old. He had his best offensive season last year, averaging 18 a game. He gets better and better. He's got tremendous smarts, tremendous toughness. He's won everywhere he's been, from high school, college, and into the NBA. All you got to do is watch him. I mean, if you're one of his teammates, he doesn't have to say a lot. Watch him approach the game the way he does, and you'll be right on.
I cannot wait. I mean, the anticipation is great to see what this Pelicans team will do. And Steve Smith, as we mentioned, media day, he was there, had a chance to catch up with Drew Holiday. In Brooklyn, Zion Williamson does this. You having flashbacks, Steve?
Not at all. I have a franchise here called Under the Rim.
I know.
Under the Rim.
It looks good, though. All right, Steve, as we mentioned, you were at media day. Let's listen in to you and Drew Holiday.
Media day.
Right.
How you feel? We were just talking. You're a vet now.
It's weird. Again, this is my 11th year, so feeling like I've done this 11 times, and kind of knowing the lay of the land has been, it's cool, but it's just weird. Sometimes you just kind of like, man, I just want to get the plan already, you know?
Right, new chapter for New Orleans. Obviously, all this went on the last year. Talk to me first. Let's start off with just the young guys. Obviously Zion Williamson is the number 1 pick, but the other kids, Jackson Hayes and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, they can play as well.
Yeah, very impressive. Kill is one of my favorite players on this team. I feel like he's a sleeper. He has a lot of abilities. He can do a lot of everything. So he's one person I feel like I have my eye on, and somebody everybody should watch. But we kind of saw a little bit of what Jackson could do above the rim, and that's just something you can't teach. I'm excited just to throw it up there and have him go get it.
And you talking about throwing it up there for you, Drew. Zion Williamson, I haven't seen anything like this. What he brings athletically, but also just the personality-wise, it seems like he's fit in from day one with the community in New Orleans.
Yeah, he's normal, you know. I feel like he has a very good character, very humble kid, and really just loving this atmosphere and everything that New Orleans brings, as well as just the NBA. I feel like he's very appreciative, and it's good to see that from somebody so young.
And Drew, when everything was going down with the trade with AD, everybody was speculating that Drew wanted to leave probably after that. Tell me your reasons why you still wanted to be here and play with this organization.
I think that bringing Griff coming in and here with Trajan and just seeing what they've done, the atmosphere change, the guys that they brought in, I feel like we're all on similar pages. Yeah, I'm a bit older than they are, but I feel like we all have an ultimate goal, and we all have something to prove.
And what's crazy, when they say you're a bit old, 11 years, you're still under 30. And you've been around, and you've been one of those players I've watched that can do a little bit of everything. You've excelled at the 1, you've excelled at the 2, you've excelled at guarding bigger players. Now, talk to me about now getting a chance to play with this kind of pass first. I know you play with Rondo, but another young guy in Lonzo Ball, pass first point guard.
Right, super excited. I feel like some of the weight goes on him, which he can obviously hold himself. Being that coming from UCLA, but just even being just the type of player that he is his mentality and the way that he plays. I feel like playing against him and seeing his vision, but then playing with him these last couple of weeks have been super fun. Just being able to get used to what he does, and he can freaking throw it from this court to that court, pinpoint accuracy. So super excited about that.
We all are super excited about what's to come from these New Orleans Pelicans. There's a look at Zion and lots of emotion, more or less. Steve and Stan will tell us how many wins they think they'll get. Lots of changes in New Orleans, starting with their new front office staff. David Griffin and Swin Cash, formerly of NBA TV, Executive VP of BB Ops, VP of B Ops, and Trajan Langdon, General Manager. All right, let's get to it. More or less than 38.5 wins. Steve and Stan, what do you think?
You know, I've been going 39 or 38 because you can't win 38.5, Stan. I'm going to go 39.
I'm going to go under, and not because I don't think this is a pretty good team. I just think the West is so good that it's going to be tough for them to get a lot of wins in the West. They're going to have to dominate the Eastern Conference to get to the 39.
Well, we've seen that happen before, so we will see how it goes for the Pelicans. Looks good for them, though. For Stan and Steve, I'm Stephanie. See you next time.